So the liberal media covered very, very little of the hours of testimony on the Justice Department Inspector General's report on the Hillary Clinton email investigation. It seems like they were too busy being outraged over the Trump administration's immigration policy, even though Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz confirmed that he is investigating whether FBI official Peter Strzok's anti-Trump bias factored into the launch of the FBI's Russia investigation. I thought the Russia investigation thing was almost the only thing that the media cared about, but it seems like they don't want to talk about Russia anymore. So let me tell you this. It was July 5th of 2016 when former FBI Director James Comey recommended no criminal charges against Hillary Clinton. And it was July 28th of that year when the FBI initiated a counterintelligence investigation into the Russia issue. That's only 3 weeks apart. And this is what the Trump-hating FBI lead investigator Peter Strzok texted to his lover. And for our viewers' consideration, Strzok was, again, the lead FBI investigator for both Hillary email scandal and Trump-Russia collusion scandal. So this is what he texted in between of those investigations. Damn, this feels momentous because this matters. The other one did too, but that was to ensure we didn't F something up. This matters because this matters in all capital letters. Strzok texted this just days after the Russia probe began in July 2016. Isn't this bigger than Watergate? But what did the media do when this bombshell news came out? They decided to focus on the detention center in the southern border. Hi, I'm Michael Wan, your host for Michael Wan's Op-Ed Live, and this is LA County Assessor Jeffrey Prang, who is running for re-election this coming November, who is currently right now holding at 48.2% of the entire votes, right?
They're still counting votes from the June 5th election. My numbers continue to go up a little bit. If I get 50%, I'll be done. If not, I'll be in the, it's likely I'll be in the November runoff with the top two.
So if you get enough provisional votes, which they are still counting, right?
That's correct.
You need 1.8% and you don't need to run for November election, and you might go to a summer break? Or?
That's correct. That would be, I would welcome that, but I think statistically it seems unlikely that there's enough votes to move that percentage point. So
man, you must be really kind of riled up because of that, right?
We had hoped to be done in getting a majority in June, but that's fine. We'll go on to November.
Well, I for one think that you did a great job.
Thank you.
The past 4 years as a LA County assessor, and hope you have a good result.
Thank you.
Upcoming November. Well, our show Op-Ed Live is not about left or right. It's about what's right or wrong. So, what's your take on my analysis?
I would not surprise you to say that I disagree.
Okay.
I think there were clearly a lot of problems within the issues of emails dealing with Hillary Clinton, but the Inspector General's investigation reflected that, but they did not find any intent or wrongdoing. The report finds the decisions to charge Hillary Clinton was not politically motivated one way or another. They addressed the issue of Bill Clinton meeting former Attorney General Loretta Lynch on the tarmac. They said that while it was unwise, there doesn't seem to be any evidence that anything wrongful took place. Unlike what the president said, he said it exonerated him completely. There's nothing in that report that indicated that he was exonerated. It basically it talked about the Mr. Strzok and admonished him for using government equipment to express what were personal opinions, but there seems to be no evidence that he did anything other than express his personal opinions to somebody that he was in a romantic relationship with on government property, which is certainly a policy violation. But he was also removed from the Mueller investigation when this information was revealed. So clearly something was done wrong. He should be disciplined. At the same time, the report did not indicate that there was any conspiracy or bias in the investigation as a result of those factors.
Okay, so I'll assess what you just said. So Michael Horowitz, who is the Inspector General, he reviewed all this for an entire year, which came out to like 568 page. So this report does conclude, like you just said, Michael Horowitz did conclude that there was no political bias on part of James Comey, FBI director. So that, I disagree. I think Michael Horowitz came to the wrong conclusion, but he did not agree on what you just said. Peter Strzok was referred. Peter Strzok and Lisa Page were lovers. You know, they were married, but they had an affair. It was those texts that became problematic. Those two, and also there were 3 more agents, FBI agents, that were involved in these shenanigans, and they were referred for additional investigation. So I think they will be subpoenaed. I heard that Peter Strzok will be subpoenaed around next week, and he volunteered. He said he would volunteer to do so, right. And he got fired, I think. Peter Strzok he was escorted out of the FBI building a couple days ago. So I think there was something serious about this, and even Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, he himself said, you know, there was 2 hearings regarding this. The first day on Monday, that was a Senate Judiciary Committee, and also the second day was the House Oversight Committee and the House Intelligence Committee. They had a collaborative hearing that day, and I listened to all of it. I watched all of it. You know, me being a political junkie, I watched all the hours. I went back home. I finished it out. The next day, I finished it out too. And I think Michael Horowitz. I don't understand why he concluded that, but I think James Comey has been very corrupt, in my opinion. And look at this. I just wanted to mention this before I give you a chance to talk about this. What I find very problematic is when Lisa Page texted to Peter Strzok, it was August 6th of 2016, and this was a time when Hillary email scandal was over, and they launched the Trump-Russia collusion probe. This is what Lisa Page, the FBI lawyer, texted to Peter Strzok, the lead investigator of the Russia investigation. She told him that he was meant to protect the country from that menace. That menace meaning Donald Trump. Don't you think this is very problematic? And him being the lead investigator. Well,
I think that you and I are looking at the same information and coming to a little bit different conclusion. And I think that those differences in conclusion is more about the weight that we're placing on it. So these 2 employees of the FBI who were involved in investigation, if they were using their private phones to express their political views, that's their business and they're entitled to. Okay. I do believe if you are a part of an investigation that you need to do the best you can do to appear to be in reality and in perception non-biased. So it's probably bad judgment for them to have done it. The fact they did it on government technology is a violation of policy, perhaps the law. And that is what exposed to them, and they should be disciplined. And it sounds to me, based on what you're telling me, that they're going to be disciplined. But I
would say this: Lisa Page, she got fired. She resigned.
Yeah. But also keep in mind what happened. These were opinions being shared between 2 people who were in a relationship. They were taking no action, and there was no indication in this report that they took any action. This was this bluster. These are 2 people speaking out loud, saying aggressive things that people say to one another in private. This was not official action. Yeah. They didn't take any action to impact the outcome of the investigation, and he was gone before early in the investigation. So there was wrong behavior here. Was it criminal? Was it diabolical? I don't think so.
Okay. So a new text revealed. You know about this. When Lisa Page texted to Strzok in August of 2016, she told Peter Strzok, "Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right?" And Strzok responded, "No, he won't. We'll stop it." So it seems like they were about to do something. That's what I said. And, you know, back to what you just said, Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, he did say they need an additional investigation to verify this, whether he acted upon it or not. That's why he's being subpoenaed.
Well, and he's not. I agree. You want to have all the information, but this is the sort of language that 2 spouses could say on the couch at a living. Okay. I know, sorry, two people dating one another in Paramount could sit down and say, "We got to stop him." That doesn't mean they're going to stop him. That's just the way that people speak. And as you said, they've investigated this for a year, and they haven't found anything other than inappropriate language to put into this report.
Okay.
I think that was just bluster by people, and we shouldn't overplay it.
Okay, so what do you think about when James Comey, who I think is very corrupt, former FBI Director James Comey, he wrote the exoneration letter 2 months prior to even interviewing Hillary Clinton or 17 other witnesses. When he started writing that, he used the word grossly negligent. And I heard that if that word is there, you have to charge that person. So he used, the way Hillary used her personal server was grossly negligent. But Peter Strzok, it was somebody changed that. Peter Strzok changed grossly negligent to extremely careless. If you change that word to extremely careless, then you don't need to charge that person. Isn't that some kind of a big thing that we should talk about? I mean, why does he have to change that word? Doesn't that mean that he wanted to protect Hillary, give her a dismissal of charge and go after Donald Trump? Because to me, that's the only way how I can decipher this whole thing.
I certainly disagree that Comey was corrupt. I think Comey made some really poor decisions. I think he did things that were in violation of standard practice with the FBI. Was he attempting to do something nefarious? I don't think so. I think sometimes even the best managers make stupid decisions, and Comey demonstrated that he made some bad decisions. But these issues, they have investigated this issue inside and out, and we're quibbling over little pieces of minutia that may or may not mean anything. And I would think that if they meant something, we would hear more information about that right now. I don't know what the difference is in terms of language and what the FBI and the Justice Department are required to do. But the fact is that that Hillary's whole email issue was a mistake. It was probably negligent. It does not seem to be that there was any criminal intent. It doesn't seem like there was any damage done. Clearly, it was a violation of policy and protocol, and action should have been taken. But I think this entire issue with Hillary Clinton in her emails has been, using the president's word, it's been a witch hunt.
You don't think it's a witch hunt?
I do. I think it is a witch hunt.
Oh, you're going after who? James Comey?
I think you're going after James Comey and Hillary Clinton
over
emails is a witch hunt.
That's what you think?
That is a witch hunt, absolutely.
Why is it?
Because there is no evidence of any intent or absolute. It seems that we're going after incompetence as opposed to wrongdoing.
So when Hillary destroyed her private emails, for instance, she had like 13 iPads plus Blackberries. She destroyed it with a hammer. She herself did it, but her deputies, people around her, they went to a mom and pop shop, bathroom closet, and they destroyed it with a hammer. They erased the content with a program called BleachBit, and not just that, when they gave the cell phones to the FBI, they pulled out the SIM card. So there's no use of that. So when they do those things, anybody would get charged. But Hillary didn't. So that's what I'm thinking. It doesn't make sense. And Jeffrey, you know about corruption. You know LA County Assessor's Office was corrupted before, 4 years ago, right? So you know about corruption. How can you start writing an exoneration letter 2 months prior to even interviewing the person that you were investigating against?
I can't speak to that because I don't know that information.
That's why I think it's corrupt, to the bottom of it.
But I don't. They made mistakes. Perhaps they tried to fix their mistakes. I don't know, but I have not heard. But you're raising issues I can't speak to with intelligently because I don't know enough about them. I don't believe that there was. I've not heard anything that would lead me to believe that there was criminal intent. I have not heard any information to indicate that they were trying to hide anything.
Okay.
And this has been investigated for 2 years now.
Yeah. So okay. What about this? And when Horowitz, Michael Horowitz, do you consider him a righteous person?
I don't know.
You don't know him? Yeah. So Michael Horowitz, seems like Republicans and Democrats both seem to agree that he's a fair guy, not a political hack. So Michael Horowitz confirmed on Tuesday that he is investigating whether FBI official Peter Strzok's anti-Trump bias factored into the launch of the Bureau's Russia probe. So they think that he might have been fabricating the whole thing. Well, what do you think about this?
Of course, there's enough information about Strzok that requires additional
Yeah.
review from a disciplinary view as an employee of the FBI. However, he had, as far as I can tell, any role he played in terms of the Russian investigation was incidental, because the Russian investigation was launched as a result of the incredible number of contacts that senior Trump family members and administration members and campaign members had with the Russians.
In Trump Tower you were talking about, right? With the Russia lawyer.
It was,
The
well,
Russian
those,
female lawyer,
the
yeah.
contacts that Michael
Yeah,
Flynn
that
had,
happened, that
all
happened.
these things happened. That's what inspired the investigation, not Strzok.
No, Michael Flynn met with the Russians after the Russia probe. The timing was because he was already picked as national security advisor.
But before that,
So-
he was paid for, he was a
So,
consultant
okay,
to the Russians.
I'll try to dismantle what you just said. So when Donald Trump Jr. and Jared Kushner, and when they met with the Russian female lawyer in Trump Tower, I think there's a high possibility that that might have been a setup. Why? Because that lady met with Fusion GPS prior and after of that meeting. Do you know Fusion GPS? That was the opposition research firm that Hillary Clinton and the Democratic National Committee spent on $13 million. So what did they get? They got they asked information to Christopher Steele, who was a former MI6 agent in Great Britain, and he got information from Russia, from Russians regarding the Trump dossier. You know about the Trump dossier, right? The Russia dossier that Trump, back in 2013, when he was the owner of Miss Universe, he brought in 2 prostitutes to pee on. I mean, I'm just getting into detail because our viewers need to know. So he hired 2 prostitutes to pee on a bed where Barack and Michelle Obama slept on. That is pretty much the essence of that Trump dossier. And they say they have a video of it, and since Vladimir Putin got the video of it, Donald Trump is just just Putin's puppet. That is their narrative, okay? So Fusion GPS came out with this, Russia collusion nonsense. So that lady, the lawyer that Trump Jr. and Jared Kushner met in Trump Tower, she met with. She got a special visa. First, she got rejected, but she got a special visa from the Obama administration, and she met with Fusion GPS prior to that meeting and after that meeting. Don't you think there's something fishy about that?
No, it sounds like Fusion GPS, let's not forget, was originally hired by one of the Republican candidates for president.
That is true.
In the primary.
But Russia was not involved at that time.
And but they are not. They do opposition research.
It was Jeb Bush, to be exact.
Okay, Jeb Bush. So the Democrats decided if it was good enough for Jeb Bush to look at, we should look at as well, and they did. Campaigns will do opposition research. I'm not going to.
Yeah, they do.
I can't comment on what the efficacy of that one way or another.
Have you hired one before?
No,
Just out of
I've
curiosity.
never.
Okay.
You gotta. That's generally limited to.
Most of the friends that I know, the politicians, they all hired it. So I was wondering.
Typically,
You're a
they're
righteous-
higher
probably a very
profile.
righteous person.
They're expensive and it's higher profile offices.
Okay.
But what we do know, here's what I think I know about what's going on with Trump. One, we know that the Russians meddled in our elections. All of our U.S. spy agencies, intelligence agencies, have confirmed that there was Russian meddling in the U.S. elections.
Yeah.
That is unequivocal. I mean, they all agree, CIA, FBI, Defense Intelligence Agency. We also know that Donald Trump has a long relationship in Russia through his pageants.
Does he? Long
through
relationship with Russia? Only 2013.
Yeah,
Other than
so-
that, I didn't see any of this.
So the pageants, his desire to build in Russia.
Buildings.
We know that his national security advisor, Flint, was under contract, was a consultant in Russia. We know that Manafort, his campaign chairman, had long relationships with the Russians. We know that Carter Page, Papadopoulos, Don Jr.
Michael Flynn said that he's not related to Russia. He knows some,
He was
Ukraine people, but
he was paid by folks in the former Soviet Union. We have a number of these people have now been indicted on. So minimally, we know the people that Trump surrounds himself with are people of questionable
you're talking
moral
about
integrity.
indictment by Robert Mueller?
Yes.
Yeah, many of them are, to me, sounds like very fake. Because Russia decided to sue Robert Mueller because some of the companies that Robert Mueller sued, it doesn't even exist.
So It's very hard to have a conversation. If we just decide that the Mueller investigation is fake, it's really hard to have a conversation.